Welcome to Anime Recall. Today, I will explain a 2019 anime series called The Rising of Shield Hero. Please turn on your subtitles as there will be spoilers ahead. One ordinary day at the library, college student Naofumi Iwatani finds a fantasy book about the four heroes. He was so fascinated that he was suddenly sucked into the book. He was summoned into another world with 3 other human beings to become the world's 4 cardinal heroes. Later, they were summoned to save humanity from the waves of catastrophe, an interdimensional horde of monsters attacking people and destroying the world. All 4 were given legendary weapons: the spear, the sword, the bow, and the shield. Naofumi ends up with the shield, which people consider the weakest of all, with no offensive abilities. When he goes out to level his weapon, no one wants to become a member of the Shield Heroes party except for Mine. Later, Mine steals his belongings and accuses him of raping her. Despite Naofumi's denials, Mine's testimony bears more weight, being the kingdom's princess and all. Naofumi became an outcast and was treated harshly by everyone except Erhard, the weaponsmith. Being dragged into a world and accused of something he did not do, Naofumi grows bitter and unattached. Determined to be the so-called scum of the kingdom, he makes his living scrounging for materials and learns to upgrade his shield with whatever resources he can find. He later realizes that he needs to gain XP to upgrade his legendary weapon. Naofumi finds himself in the company of a local slave trader, Balukas. Having managed to get by with some gold, he hopes to find a slave to fight for him. He later finds a demi-human slave girl cowering in fear inside a cage. Balukas offers Naofumi a high-level wolfman, but Naofumi buys the much cheaper raccoon girl, Raphtalia. Balukas casts the dreaded slave crest on Raphtalia to prevent her from betraying or disobeying her master, which in this case would be Naofumi. Naofumi later realized that Raphtalia had been deeply traumatized when her parents got killed in the first wave, making her incapable of killing at first. They travel to a small town called Lut to mine a valuable ore when a high-level dog monster suddenly attacked them. The beast manages to injure Naofumi, but after seeing Raphtalia trembling in fear, he orders her to run while he buys her some time to escape. When Raphtalia sees Naofumi bleeding while fending off the beast, she gathers enough courage. After seeing Raphtalia standing up to the beast, Naofumi comforts her and promises not to leave her, while she also promises to help him defeat the waves. With the next wave fast approaching, Naofumi has upgraded his shield with several transformations, each with a unique ability. Meanwhile, Raphtalia has swiftly matured into a capable young woman who is well versed with a sword. Naofumi's group visits the cathedral and the dragon hourglass to check when the next wave will be, when they run into the other cardinal heroes, who still scorn and looks down on him. The next day, the wave of catastrophe begins. While the other cardinal heroes rush in to defeat the main force, Naofumi and Raphtalia head to Lut to help the villagers. When the kingdom's knights arrived, they initially attacked the village without a care for the people, then might get swept up in their aerial bombardment, which irked Raphtalia. After seeing the Shield Heroes party helping the villagers, some of the knights chose to aid him, while the others left to join the cardinal heroes, who managed to defeat the main boss. After a long arduous battle, the villagers thanked the Shield Heroes party for his help in the wave. The dragon hourglass is reset, starting the next wave countdown. After a swift victory on the first wave, the kingdom holds a lavish dinner for the heroes, to which Naofumi reluctantly attends. Mine informs Motoyasu, the spear hero, that Raphtalia is enslaved and asks him to save her. Enraged, Motoyasu challenges Naofumi to a duel for Raphtalia's freedom. Naofumi initially declined his challenge, but when King Ultkray overhears the conversation, he insists he accepts the duel and forcibly takes Raphtalia into custody. Although Motoyasu has higher levels than Naofumi and boasts of powerful attacks, Naofumi has a formidable defense and several different shields, which he utilizes with superior tactics. Naofumi managed to get the upper hand when suddenly Mine used a wind spell on Naofumi, which blasted him across the arena, which ended with Motoyasu claiming victory over the duel. When King Ultkray reveals that Mine is his daughter, he later realizes they have been scheming behind his back all this time. As Raphtalia is freed from her slave crest, Naofumi feels miserable and enraged, unlocking the Cursed Shield series. Raphtalia slaps Motoyasu for his misjudged chivalry, as she does not ask to be saved. She describes how kind-hearted Naofumi has been, and the people, much to their disbelief. Ren, the sword hero, and Itsuki, the bow hero, also step in and disapprove of the duel, as they criticize Mine's interference in the battle. Raphtalia runs into Naofumi and reassures him of her loyalty, and that even if the world is against him, she would still be by his side. Naofumi and Raphtalia return to Belukis to redo her slave crest. While there, Naofumi was scammed into buying a random monster egg, with a slim chance it would turn into a dragon. It later hatched into a Phaloil, which she named Philo. Philo quickly matured in just a couple of days, when suddenly Motoyasu and Mine showed up in the village, declaring that this village will now be under the Spear Hero's domain by royal decree. To make matters worse, they will have to put up with extravagant taxes moving in and out of the village. Naofumi speaks up after realizing that this is blatant extortion of the villagers. Mine challenges everyone to a dragon race for the rights to the town, which Naofumi hesitantly accepts. Naofumi wins the race despite Mine ordering her soldiers to cheat in Motoyasu's favor. Motoyasu and Mine retreat when the queen's envoys expose her for cheating in the dragon race. After a taxing day on the road, Naofumi's group decided to rest when Naofumi and Raphtalia are surprised to find Philo transforming into a little girl with wings the following day. The next day, Naofumi's group seeks out the local dressmaker as Philo tends to rip her clothes when transforming from her human to Philolyle form. To create a particular type of clothes for Philo, they need to obtain bundles of magic threads which are only made using a specific type of gemstone. In search of the elusive gemstone, Naofumi's party finds themselves in an abandoned alchemist's tomb, where they come across a gem vein. It turns out that Nue, a chimera beast, has made its nest in it. After a daunting battle with the beast, the group obtains the gemstone needed to create the magic threads that the dressmaker used to create Philo's unique dress. While on the road making ends meet as a trader, Naofumi's party travel to a nearby village to deliver herbicide. It turns out that a monstrous plant overruns the town. The group later discovers that a seed was brought by the Spear Hero days back when the village was on the verge of starvation. Now it has grown to a monstrous size and started attacking the villagers. Naofumi's group defeats the massive plant and alters the seed to make it safe to plant again. As payment for the Shield Hero's service, they managed to wrangle a job to deliver merchandise to a hot springs village. Raphtalia learns from a local about a rare gem that an unusual bird collects, and she has decided to give it to Naofumi. Raphtalia sneaks out into the night, but later runs into Philo, who wants the bird's eggs to present to Naofumi. While on the way, they come across a furious silver boar that attacks and chases them into the nest, where it knocks the jewels off the cliff and tramples over the eggs. Enraged, the two kill it and sell off its body to buy a unique carving tool they present to Naofumi. In one of their travels, Naofumi's group comes across a disease-stricken village. They later discover that the disease spreading through the village is caused by a dragon carcass killed by Ren, the sword hero. Its decomposing body has been left there to rot, where it slowly seeps into the ground, making the area toxic and deadly to humans. Naofumi's party sets out to clear the corpse when it suddenly revives as a zombie dragon. The battle turns for the worse when the dragon swallows Philo. Grieving from Philo's death, Naofumi's despair and rage activated his accursed Rage Shield, which managed to be effective against the dragon at the cost of him losing himself with its flames. When Naofumi comes around, he sees Raphtalia covered in burns while trying to bring him back to his senses. While still wallowing over their loss, Philo comes bursting out of the dragon's belly, which happens to have eaten the crystal inside it. Naofumi's party returns to the village only to discover that Raphtalia's wounds from the Rage Shield can only be cured by a special grade holy water, which is only available at the kingdom's cathedral. Naofumi's party heads back to the capital for the holy water when they come across a blue-haired girl who introduces herself as Melty. It turns out that Melty has a strong fondness for Philo Lyles, hence she quickly befriends Philo when she discovers she is one. They arrive at the capital, where they try to procure a high-grade holy water with the Pope's help. Back at the town square, Motoyasu presumes that Philo is yet another enslaved person procured by Naofumi and demands he release her. Motoyasu starts attacking Naofumi when Philo suddenly transforms and kicks him away. Melty later reveals herself as the second princess and heir to the throne. It turns out that the queen has made her the heir's apparent due to Mine's somewhat dishonest and disreputable behavior. Naofumi walks away, but not until he can express his contempt towards the royal family. Naofumi is later approached by a small group of knights who would like to join the fight in the wave after seeing how Naofumi heroically saved Loot Village. Naofumi will only agree to them joining the party if they will pay him 150 silver coins, much to the knights' dismay. Seeing that they have enough experience points for class upgrades, Naofumi returns to the cathedral to use the Dragon Hourglass when he discovers that he is forbidden to use it per the royal decree of King Ulcray. The only option left to him would be to travel to Shield Frieden and use the Dragon Hourglass there, but going there would mean that he would not be able to return in time for the wave. While on the road, Naofumi runs into starving refugees who fled from a neighboring town. He later discovers that Itsuki started a revolution to topple a corrupt leader who paved the way for a more corrupt government in its place and drove its people to bankruptcy. Naofumi gives Ren and Itsuki an earful over their mindless heroism, who does not care about the consequences of their actions. Erhard gives Naofumi upgraded armor, while the knights return to Naofumi with 150 silvers, who then orders them to use the money to buy better weapons and armor for the upcoming wave. The party is warped into the battle, with Naofumi's party dealing with the monsters while the knights help the civilians evacuate. Naofumi notices a familiar older woman, who turns out to be the same woman he helped heal during one of his travels. She used to be an adventurer back in the day, but she is still quite a capable fighter. After 3 long hours into the battle, Naofumi worries about the main party and what is taking so long for the other 3 heroes to beat the main boss of this wave. His uneasiness grew when he saw the 3 heroes arguing on how to beat the Dutchman when Naofumi pointed out that the real boss of this wave is a massive Soul Eater hiding in the shadows. Raftalia revealed the Soul Eater using her magic, and Naofumi was forced to use the accursed Rage Shield. Naofumi loses control of himself when the zombie dragon's soul in the shield is acting up. Naofumi manages to regain his senses and regains control of his shield. When he defeats the Soul Eater with his new power, the Iron Maiden, another Soul Eater emerges when it is suddenly killed by a woman in a black kimono, who introduces herself as Glass and turns out to be the true enemy of this wave. Glass single-handedly defeats the 3 cardinal heroes and confronts Naofumi's party. The Shield Heroes party struggles with the battle against Glass as they cannot land a single blow. Glass manages to withstand the combined attacks from Naofumi, Raftalia, and Philo, and goads Naofumi on using his Rage Shield. Even with the Rage Shield, Naofumi struggles to beat Glass, so he calls for a tactical retreat. Glass attacks using long-range spells, but when the time limit for the wave hits, Glass is forced to retreat. Wait, the story does not end here. For a part 2 recap of this anime season, be sure to hit the bell icon. See you in the next video. As always, like and comment to help out our channel. Thanks for watching.